Nixie has been making really nice controllers for the Nintendo Switch for a while now, and specifically they make ergonomic controllers for your Nintendo Switch. You can see this nice grip that we've got here on our Switch, and when it came to the Switch 2 with its poor, pitiful Joy-Cons just like the last generation, I was disappointed and wanted to see Nixie bring their controllers to this so I could actually play my Nintendo Switch 2 handheld. And that's where we come to the sponsor of this video, which is Nixie and their controllers, but specifically a new product that they have for the Nintendo Switch 2. They sent us all of the Nixie products that you're going to be seeing in this video. A lot of these are just Joy-Cons that you can use on your Nintendo Switch. With this new product that they sent over to us, you can now use your Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Cons with your Nintendo Switch 2 by just sliding it in there, and then you pop out this and pop this in, and voila, you've got a Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Con, but that sucks. So what we're gonna do is swap that out with one of Nixie's ergonomic Joy-Cons to make our Switch 2 actually comfortable to hold in handheld mode. So now with our Nixie Joy-Cons connected, we can play our Nintendo Switch in comfort and style. You can see we've even got the orange and the blue of the traditional Nintendo Switch 2 controllers. I think these are fantastic, but let's talk a little bit more about them. Taking a look at the product itself, we've got the orange and blue of the Nintendo Switch 2. We've got some little connections in there to actually help charge your controllers. And then we've got just your standard rail guide for the Nintendo Switch 1 controllers. So that just slides right in there, ba-bam. And then it just clicks right in here. And this is actually pretty solid. It is very similar to how solid the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons themselves are. And then we've got the little button on the top here to just go ahead and plop that out of the magnetic connection. So I can hold my Nintendo Switch 2 up like this. I wouldn't recommend it. These did come with the little Joy-Con straps on them. I removed them because that's a little bit stupid to be playing with these attached to the Switch and having this on there. But if you wanted these on there, you could have them if you're gonna be using these separately for some reason. I brought a tape measure in so that we can actually get the distance that these add to your Switch 2. So if we just put this here on the edge of our Joy-Con controller and here, it adds about 9/16 of an inch on each side. So you're getting just barely over an inch and an eighth about is what you're adding to the width of your overall Nintendo Switch 2, which isn't bad. It feels pretty comfortable and nice. And these things are super solid in here. There's hardly any wobble coming from this. It connects really nicely. And we're actually gonna go ahead and weigh them so you can see how much weight you're actually adding to your Nintendo Switch 2 when you're using these. So we've got 1.8 on that readout. That is pretty light, especially considering if we put the Nintendo Switch 2 on here itself, we've got 14.3. So you're adding the tiniest little bit of weight there. I find these things really cool for multiple different reasons, including the Nixie Wizard 2, which is their GameCube style controller. You can actually take these now and hook them up to your Nintendo Switch 2, now making it possible for you to play the GameCube games that are locked to the Nintendo Switch 2 using a GameCube controller in handheld mode. You can see here I am using their GameCube controller to play Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo Switch Online GameCube thing with a GameCube controller, which I think is so cool to do in handheld mode. Now, as I already showed, these are just going to work with standard Joy-Cons, which means that if you have some other Nixie competitor that makes ergonomic controllers, you will be able to use them with this. But right now, Nixie is actually offering a deal where you can add these adapters to your cart for $1 if you're buying a controller from Nixie. And I do really highly recommend Nixie's controllers. We've done some reviews in the past that they weren't sponsored reviews, so you can go and watch them to see what our honest opinions on these controllers are. And our honest opinions is that they are great controllers. They've got features like micro switch buttons, Hall effect or TMR joysticks, the great RGB lights, they've got turbo mode, they've got macros, they've got so many different features packed into them and are such a fantastic controller. And I absolutely love the ability to play my Nintendo Switch in comfort now with Joy-Cons that I already owned. So if you already own some, or if you want to pick up some fantastic controllers, you can actually get 10% off on our website using our code co-op. But let's talk a little bit more about these adapters, because while I do like them, they are not perfect. You may have noticed, like I do, that we've actually got a blinking light here instead of a solid light. When I take this off, we've got a solid light on the Joy-Con. So why are we getting a blinking light passing through here? As far as I've been able to understand, that's actually because these have charging pass-through. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually charging your Joy-Cons as you play, so you're not gonna end up with dead Joy-Cons. Unfortunately, while there is an electric charge charging your controllers, these adapters are not actually connecting your controller to the Nintendo Switch. It is doing that physically, but not through a hardwired connection that lets you connect them. You're still going to be using these Joy-Cons via Bluetooth on your Nintendo Switch. That means that before you actually use any Switch 1 Joy-Cons with this, you're gonna have to go over to the controllers, change the grip order, and use the sync button found on all Joy-Cons. It's on all of the Nixie Joy-Cons as well as the traditional Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, so you can go ahead and hold that sync button to sync up your Joy-Cons with the Nintendo Switch. If I go ahead and hold this button, the lights will actually start going until it starts connecting to our Switch, and once it has connected, you'll see that it says paired in this corner, and then you can go ahead and just connect these by pressing these shoulder buttons as you would with any other controller. That is honestly the biggest negative with these, otherwise it's all positive. We've got an affiliate link in the description for you to go check out all of Nixie's products and pick these up for yourself. If you're going to use code COOP for an extra 10% off site-wide. If you want to learn more about the controllers, check out this playlist. This is all of our Nixie controller reviews. You can find our honest opinions over there. I cannot wait to see you over there. We love you guys. Y'all are awesome.